welcome or welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? I don't know. And neither do my girlies in the beauty YouTuber growth group. However, they are listed as ever in my description box below. Once you've watched this, it'd be awesome if you could pop over and check out a couple of their latest offerings. Right, you will have seen the title of this film, I hope, before you clicked it. So you know we are talking about a UK indie brand, OMGOhMyGlitter. And in particular, we are talking about the Brights palette, which by nature of its name is a bright palette. So, if you want to see exactly how I achieve this look, then you're in exactly the right place. Grab a drink, grab a snack, put your feet up, get comfortable. Here comes the tutorial. Oh, and I have a discount code. Hey, welcome back from the intro. I will have shown you this in the intro. I won't have shown you the inside yet. It is stunning. Hello. Is that not beautiful? Right, I have done swatches. I will put them up as I zoom in. I'm gonna be very close. Just, you know, I don't want you to be too shocked. Right, so the shades are Lost Souls, Steampunk, Winter Sea. Okay, this one is really difficult to read because it's white writing on a white shadow. I'm going to have a closer look later and maybe annotate the screen with what that shade is. Clam Bra, Sugar Plum Fairy, Kissable Rose, Cherry Blossom, Mermaid Tears, Blue for You, Under the Sea, and Icy Blue. Hello, I'm back again. Right. Oh, I love glitter shadows. My tutorials are open to all ages, all abilities. So the next bit that I'm going to talk through, regular viewers will have heard probably quite a few times, so feel free to either fast forward me or speed me up. But for those of you who are new to my channel, hi, hello, welcome. Now, when I look straight ahead, you can see all of my mobile lid from inner corner to outer corner. So I don't have hooded lids. I do have very deep set eyes though. For example, if I put that brush there and then close my eye, you can see I've got just as much lid space above that disappears back in. So I do have the issue of shadows transferring from my lid to my mobile lid to my upper lid. Anyway, if you don't see all of your mobile lid with your eyes open, you've either got a full or a half hooded lid, or you've got what's known as an Asian or a mono eye. You can still follow my tutorials. Get a flat brush like this or a pencil brush, and with your eye open, just sketch out where you need your crease line to be. Now, obviously, this will reduce this amount of space between your crease and your brow. So, I always advise people to raise their eyebrows up when applying shadows because, you know, the skin on your eyelids moves, and when you've lost 10, 11 stone like I have, and you're over 44, the skin on your eyelids moves a lot. But if that still doesn't give you a huge amount of space, now the brushes that I tend to use are like this. So I use a big fluffy brush and then a more tapered one. Now, if you've got either lower brows or you've had to raise your crease line up, so you've not got as much space here to play with, instead of starting with this brush, start with one like this, and when I move to this brush, you need to go down to something like this. This is a Coastal Scents tapered crease brush. So you can see it's still loosely packed for blending, but it comes right up to a point, so you can actually adjust how far it blends out on your eye. On my face at the moment, I have washed, I have moisturised, I have SPF'd, and I have primed. I have double primed again today. She said, trying to grab hold of, oh, for goodness sake. Okay. Right, I have double primed today. I've put a little bit of this Becca First Light priming filter on, because where I've had a cold, my skin has been quite dehydrated, even though I've been drinking a lot. And obviously I used my usual facial antiperspirant. Link for more details on that film is in my description box. All I have on my eyes at the moment, I'm actually trying out one of the Revolution pigment pomades. This one is in nude. It's similar to a MAC pigment pot. Yeah, nude base, that one's just called. And I've literally just spread it out across my eye, and I've set it with my Coty Airspun. Okay, time to stick some shadow on my eyes. I do actually have a discount code for OMGOhMyGlitter. It's been listed in my description box for quite a while. I keep meaning to do a film showing you all of my things that I bought from OMGOhMyGlitter, because I've bought from them for a very long time, going right back to their original lipstick containers that look like this. So yeah, I've shopped with them a long time. She actually, Robin, that actually owns the company, actually named a lipstick after me called Bombalicious, which makes me very happy. And my code with them is the same as it is with other companies. It's Bomber, all in caps, and saves you 10% on orders above £10. I believe I do make a small commission if you buy using that code, but that's not really why I've got the code. I've got the code to save you some money on some good indie makeup. Right. I am going to go in initially to... Now, all of these are shimmers. So this is the point where most people will be going, oh, but you can't put shimmers in your crease, you're going to have to get... Yes, you can. I'm 44 years old. I'm going to be sticking shimmers in my crease. If you do find that you don't like how that looks, if you do have particularly crepey eyelids and you find that it really emphasises them too much, then just go in either with your bronzer or a blush and use that as your transition shade. But we're going to be dealing with these shimmers exactly the same way that I would do with a matte. Obviously with a shimmer you're going to get a little bit more fallout because they're not designed to be blended like mattes are. They also take sometimes a little bit longer to blend, and as you can see my eyes are a little bit weepy today, so that's going to be great fun. So I'm going to start off with Cherry Blossom, which is this beautiful pink. As you can see I'm tapping off into my colour switch. I'm just going to move my phone because that's really annoying me. And I've got a washcloth here to change the colours on, simply because the sponge in my colour switch is getting a bit torn. So I'm going to start off with this Cherry Blossom outside corner of the eye, and I'm just going to run that across and back again in a windscreen wiper movement just to lay the first line of colour down. Okay. Now I'm following my physical eye socket, that's my bone there. If you've had to move your crease up, then obviously just follow whichever your crease line is. Now I'm going to pick up some more pigment on the brush. And I'm going to do little circular movements starting from the outside corner. I'm holding the brush right at the very end to put as little pressure on the eye as possible. I'm just doing little circular movements across to the middle, and then lift up slightly, reverse the direction, and come back again. And because I've got very deep set eyes, I've got a lot of space to play with. I can go up, go back to the first direction, and come back again. Now, I always leave 3 or 4 mils, about brush width, that's probably about 5 mils actually, from the lowest part of my brow. That's especially important when you're using shimmers, otherwise how's your brow highlight going to stand out if you haven't got a matte element separating your colours? So you can see that it is a little bit patchy, but it's a shimmer. It's not designed to be blended out like a matte is. So I'm just going to tap a little bit of extra pigment on. Now long-term viewers know that I struggle here and here because of stress eczema that I get on my eyelids and creasing and, you know, basically just getting old. I do struggle with even getting a matte pigment to stick to those areas. So I'm just tap, 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 tap to build the pigment up. And then once I've got the pigment built up, I'm literally going to use feather light circles just to make sure it's all blended nice and smoothly with each other. Okay, and once I'm happy with the depth of colour and the pigment, I'm going to be putting a darker colour on, so I'm not too fussed about this bit here for the minute. I'm then going to just very gently do vertical windscreen wipers this time, going up and down in overlapping stripes. Just to make sure we've got it as blended as possible. Now obviously if I weren't putting another colour on over the top, a deeper one, I would be concentrating here now to actually pack the pigment on, but you can see at the moment my eye really doesn't want to. I think it's because my eye's been watering, and obviously my eye's having a moment to itself and really doesn't want to take pigment just there, which is fabulous when you're filming. It's really, really helpful with my eyes. Thank you so much. Yes, that was sarcasm. Right, I'm going to do the same with this eye. Now, this eye I can actually close, because obviously I'm blind in this eye. So if I closed the other eye, there wouldn't be an awful lot of makeup happening. Now, yes, I know that looks blotchy, but as I've said 1,000 times, shimmers will do until you blend them, because they're not designed to be used A, with this sort of brush, or B, used in this kind of way. They're designed to be packed onto a lid, for example. But I like breaking the makeup rules, and I like using them exactly the way I want to use them. So you can see that has packed on really nicely and has blended really nicely. Just need to pay a little bit of attention to this top corner. There we go. And then, as before, very gentle windscreen wipers up and down to blend the shade out. Now, looks like I've gone heavier this side than this side, which does happen because of me being blind in one eye. I do sometimes end up putting the shade heavier on one eye than the other, but that's easily rectified. You just bung a bit more shadow on, really, which, when I'm not talking you through step by step, doesn't take that long. Obviously, if you're an expert, then feel free to speed me up, or, you know, just zoom through this bit. I make a point of not speeding any of my tutorials up because I want even absolute beginners that have never picked up a brush before, I want them to be able to follow my tutorials as well. You are going to get fallout when you're blending shimmers, by the way, so I do advise you to do your eyes before you do your base. Now, I do have very deep creases on this eye because it got pulled around a lot when I was 5 years old at the ophthalmic, and you'll see that it does leave me with this tiger striping, so I do have to. Normally, the circular blending will sort that out, but with this eye, I very often have to stretch it out like this. Don't do that unless you absolutely have to, because otherwise, you will end up with deep creases, and you will end up having to do that whether you want to or not. Now, obviously, blues and purples are some of the hardest colours to do. So, guess which colours I'm going into? Yeah, you got it. Blues and purples. I'm going to go into, I think, a Sugar Plum Fairy. I'm just taking all the pink off of this on my washcloth, as you can see. And I'm going to go into Sugar Plum Fairy, which is the lilac. So I'm still using the same brush. Okay. Might tap that off a little bit more actually. There we go. Now, we're going to start off in exactly the same way by running it through the crease. Okay. Oh, how juicy do they look together. And then when we do the circles this time, instead of going up our eye, we're going to keep the bristles in contact, the bottom of the bristles in contact with that line we just put down. I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to start exactly as we did before by twirling across to the middle. But then instead of lifting up, we're still going to reverse the direction, but we're going to come back along the bit we've just done. Now obviously deeper colours have more pigment molecules, so they do take longer to blend, and also purples and blues tend to take longer to blend because they're the most difficult ones to formulate. So I do tend to go across sort of 3 or 4 times, but then I do that even with a matte shadow to make sure it's all blended, and you can see that's actually blending really, really nicely. I'm just going to go back into Cherry Blossom, just pick up a little bit of the pink, so I've got a mixture of the pink and the lilac on there, and I'm just going to very, very gently blend along the line where the two colours meet. I'm putting hardly any pressure on my eye at all there, because I just want to just soften that edge where those two colours meet, so that you don't really see a line where one colour stops and the next one starts. Okay? And you can see the sort of depth that has added to the eye. I'm just going to take any pink off of that brush that was still on there. And I'm going to go back into a Sugar Plum Fairy, which is the lilac. And we're going to repeat it with this side. So again, start off by laying our crease down, and then we go back in and start twirling. I mean, these blend so beautifully. They really do. So for anybody who tells you you can't do an all shimmer look, just show them where the exit is, will you? If you like an all shimmer look, then you do it. If it makes you happy, then do it. You know? So the makeup rules. According to makeup rules, I shouldn't be wearing shimmers at 44. Well, 44 and 8 months. I'm closer to 45 than I am 44. Has it stopped me from using shimmers? No. Will it stop me from using shimmers? No. So again, I'm just going to make sure my little barcoding or tiger striping is sorted out. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of the cherry blossom again. And just blend where those two colours meet. Sorry if you heard that, my neighbours don't appear to be able to have a conversation unless it's at screaming volume. If there's any obscenities, I will play some music so that you can't hear them. But yes, so we're going to very gently buff along there, so you can see we can still see the two colours very clearly, but we've just softened the line. Just going to take all the pigment off of the brush for the minute and just really lightly buff across without any pigment on the brush at all, just to make sure we've got a good blend. And that is a good tip, particularly if you're doing shimmers, just go over with a clean brush. It also helps get rid of any loose pigments that are going to fall down during the day. Right, now it is time to come down to the smaller brush. So if you started with this one, now's the time to come down to this one. I just need to have a wiggle, sorry, I'm in a lot of pain. What's that I was saying earlier about having a reasonably good pain day? Yeah, someone heard me. Now my white balance in my viewfinder's mucked up. Great. Right, using this brush, I am going to go into Kissable Rose, which is this beautiful sort of magenta-y purple. I'm just going to tap that initially, just on the outer corner of my eye. Now I am really struggling here, you can really see how my eye has been watering. So I'm fully expecting this to not want to lay on my lid at all. Yeah, I think I might have to go in with the blue actually, because that's just where my eye's a bit pink at the side where it's been running, that's just emphasising it. So I'm going to go into Blue for You instead, which is the beautiful sort of cobalt blue in the bottom row. Just going to, I've got a little bit of micellar water on this, I'm just going to really lightly just take some of the thickest of that purple off that I'd laid down without smudging the rest of the eye look. This just had Coty Air spun on it if you were wondering. Right, should we try that again? Right, so this is the Blue for You. I'm just going to pat this in the outer corner. Yeah, that's looking better. Purple was just a bad colour choice today, I think, when my eye's been... You can see where it gets very pink just here where it starts to run because it irritates where I get stress eczema. But the blue kind of covers it up better than the purple did. Not to say that the purple's a bad shadow, because it's not, it was just too similar to my irritated skin colour and was looking blotchy. Right, so now I'm going to again very gently take that deepest colour through my crease. But this time, instead of picking up more pigment, I'm just going to blend what I've already laid down. So I'm holding the brush right at the very end, and rather than being above the line, which we did on the previous two colours, I'm staying directly on the line. Because all I'm trying to do is very gently fluff out the edges of this blue. Oh, my eyes watering again. It's really not helpful when you're trying to do makeup. Can't make up my mind if this is the tail end of the cold finally catching up with me, or if it's just where I poked myself in the eye in the shower this morning. Don't ask. Right. It's probably a little bit of both, to be honest. So you can see that really gives a nice lot of depth to the eye, because the darker the colour, the more the colour recedes, brighter the colour, the more it comes forward. So this really gives the impression of the eye being even more deep set than it actually is. It almost changes the shape of my eye if you compare the two, and I just think it gives a really nice finish. So now I'm going to do the same this side. So tap on the corner, pick up a wee bit more pigment, tap next to it, and then just above it. So it's almost like a triangle that we're laying down on the outer corner here. We're just covering the outer third of the eye and that beautiful blue. I might add a little bit more. Let me get my little mirror right up close so I can actually see what I'm doing properly. And just really stamp some pigment on this side here. How pretty is that looking? Happy me, happy me. Right. As before, we're going to just waggle that through our crease line, and then tiny circles just to really gently fluff the edges of that blue. Again, I'm just going to sort my tiger striping out. I really like that. Right, I'm going to clean the colour off of my brush. This pigment really wants to hang on. But these brushes are due for a clean tomorrow anyway. Right, now, long-term viewers will know that I always apply shimmers wet, but I never go into a pressed pigment with a wet brush. I always go with a dry brush and then wet the brush itself. Otherwise you risk getting hard pan, sealing the colour over, and just not being able to pick up any colour at all next time you go in. I'm just trying to decide which of these shades to use. I think I'll use that one. And this eye, you can see, is still running at this corner. That's really annoying. Right, so with a nice dry brush, I'm going to go into Icy Blue. pigment onto the brush. Now I use this is the Obsession Pigment Boost. You can use anything though, I mean you can use priming spray, moisturising sprays like a Mario Badescu or a Fix Plus. You can use setting spray, you can even use clean water. All we're doing is just dampening that pigment. So, wet pigment. I always wipe the ferrule dry so that you don't get any moisture going down and loosening these bristles here. And now I'm going to apply this to the 2/3 of the lid that haven't had any colour. Yes, I could use concealer and tidy this up and do a cut crease, but I want to see whether this has got the pigmentation to cover that deeper shade. I'm desperately trying not to sing deeper shade of blue to you at the moment. Although this one's making me want to go electric blue. I really like this colour. I've gone very 80s with my eye look today, and you know what? I don't care. I quite like an 80s look. And this is the Brights palette after all. So you weren't exactly going to get a deep green smoky eye. Although I probably could do a deep green smoky eye having looked at this palette and said that. Now, as you know, I normally do 2/3 of the lid and then come down at like an angle to the outer corner, just so we keep the depth of the deeper colour there. I really, really like this look. And do you know what? 13-year-old me would have loved this look. And the 13-year-old me wouldn't have been capable of achieving this look. Perhaps I'll do that. Perhaps I'll do you how I did my makeup in the 80s. That'll give it an interesting feel. Right, pack the pigment on. Wet the pigment. Dry the ferrule. Now with this side, because of the deep creasing, I do have to stretch the lid out. Otherwise it kind of just skips across the top of the creasing, and then as the pigment dries it just falls down onto my cheeks through the day. Again, you saw with the other eye I didn't do that, and if you don't need to do that, don't. But this also is a very good moment to show you that it is indeed opaque enough and pigmented enough to cover that deeper blue that we put down initially through the crease. As I said, I've actually been buying from Robin OMGOhMyGlitter for a long time. I started off with lipsticks and little individual pots of colour. I'm pretty sure the pots of colour that I bought were blue and purple. Because you just couldn't get those in palettes at the time. Nobody at all. All you could get was brown and orange, orange and brown, orange, yellow and brown. It was around about the time that Morphe brought out that 35O and then 3502. You know, how many different shades of brown and orange can you fit in one palette? Thing is with those, by the time you get them on your eye, there's not a huge amount of difference in tonally. Whereas with this, you can definitely see a big difference between the colours that I actually put on. I really like this look, I've got to be honest. Right, I'm going to clean my brush off again. And I'm going to go off camera, put some foundation and stuff on, and I will be back to finish off my under eye. So for you, in YouTube world, that should be instant. Hey, I'm back. Okay. I'm now going to use I'm going to use the flat brush I showed you earlier, and I'm going to use another flat brush, but it's considerably thicker, to smoke out my lower lash line. Now, because my eyes are super sensitive, and you can tell they're super sensitive today because they won't stop blooming running, I don't tend to put anything on my actual waterline because it makes my eyes run even more, and then I end up with just makeup running down my face like Alice Cooper from the Schools Out video. So I tend to concentrate on just putting something pretty in the lower lash line instead. You don't have to, you can just leave it like this, put some mascara on and fine. But I like to continue colour under my eye. Now you can continue with similar colours that you've used here, so take the dark blue and then smudge it out with either the light blue or the lilac, or even the lilac and smudge it with the pink. But you know what I'm like? I like to go for colours, and I mentioned a green smoky eye earlier, so I want to put some greens on. So I'm going to go into Winter Sea on the top row, as you can see, hopefully. I'm just going to very gently pop this under my lower lashes, and I'm going to go about 2/3 of the way along. You can see this is a really beautiful, rich green. Wish my eyes would behave. I promise you it's not the palette doing this. I've used it before, and I've used these colours before, and it's not my eyes reacting to those. I'm obviously just having a bad day, and my pain levels are quite high, so that's probably not helping. Okay, so I'm going to start off with that nice deep green. Then brush off, pick up this one. I'm just going to tap the top of these bristles into, I think, under the sea. It's got to be done, hasn't it, really? Everything's better done where it's wetter, and as my eyes are running under the sea, I'm just going to really gently just smudge that along the lower lash line, all the way along, just to soften that deeper green and add a little bit of brightness to the under eye. It's such a pretty colour. I need to do a green look with this palette now, don't I, really? If you could see the faces I'm pulling right now with my mouth, you would laugh. Quite loudly, I feel. Okie dokie. Now I'm just going to pop a little bit of highlighter on my eyes just to show you how and where I apply it. I did get, as one of my Christmas presents, a full-size sarcophagus, which I'm very happy about because this is an actual neutral gold. If you are cool toned or warm toned, this will work on you, which is awesome, because being neutral to cool, trying to find a good gold is very difficult. You can find champagnes, and this is almost a champagne-y gold, but it definitely has gold reflect. I'm just going to use that. I'm going to pop a little bit just under the tail end of my brow here. This is just a flat top brush. I think this was one I got out of a very cheap set off of eBay, but it is perfect for the brow and inner corner highlight. Now, of course, you can use one of the colours out of the palette if you want. I just like having my inner corner being the same as the rest of my highlight on my face. And you can see I pop that around the tear duct and just bring it down the first sort of third of the under eye, just to blend in with the darker colour that we have smudged along. Right, you don't need to see me put mascara on, and you really don't need to see me put highlight on my cheeks and everything. I'm pretty sure you all know how to do that. So I'm going to pause you very briefly while I do all of that and stick some lipstick on, do something with my hair, and I'll be back with my final thoughts. So, again, pretty instant in YouTube world. And I'm back. And proof I have actually got a top on. So, as you can see, I finished off with my mascara, and the lippy that I've used is one of my new Hourglass Confessions. I actually managed to get, I bought a set, believe it or not, New Year's Eve 2018, so just before my low-buy started, but after I'd filmed my what brand do I want to try next year. And I managed to get not just a gold set, but I managed to get the lilac set, because you know I'm like my purples, and I actually really like both shades. The refill that's in here is like a russety red, very similar to the colour of my top, and this one is in shade My One Desire, because really helpfully they actually have it written on the side of the stylo, and these just pull out and clip back in again, and they are just, I mean, isn't that a stunning component? I know it's not going to be as permanent as a liquid lipstick, but you really don't mind getting that out of your handbag to top up, do you? Look at this highlight. Can you see why I like this highlight so much? Can you? Anyway, I'm not talking about the highlight, we're talking about the Brights palette. So, what do I think of this palette? As always, from OMGOhMyGlitter, you get a really good, well thought out colour story. The first palette of hers that I got was the Get Sprung, which was the yellows and greens. Stunning, stunning palette. And I don't know what the medium is that she uses to set them with, but I really love the smell of it. If you've got one, smell your palette, tell me what it reminds you of. I've got another one of her palettes over here as well, the Queen Slayer, that I need to do a tutorial on. So, but all of her colour stories are really, really well thought out. There are so many looks that I want to do with this palette. I mean, obviously this is my pink, purple, blue. I could do an all blue, I could do an all green, I could do a green and gold, I could do a purple and blue. It's such a stunning palette. And as I've said, it's really, really good quality. But then, you know, her stuff always is. I've never had anything from Robin that hasn't been absolutely bang on, 100% fantastic quality. Sorry, just check I didn't have toothpaste. Lipstick on my teeth, rather. So, yeah, do I recommend this? 100% do I recommend this. I also recommend that you use my code, which is BOMBER in all caps, to save yourself 10% on orders over £10. That's a multi-use, you can use that as many times as you like. I'll also put a link in the description box that will take you straight to her website as well, so you can have a peruse through. I know she's working at getting more lipsticks back on the site, but you know, go and have a look. Definitely pick this up. I don't know whether this is limited edition, but I know Get Sprung isn't on the website anymore, and I don't think the Queen Slayer is either. So, you know, she doesn't just do shimmers, she's also got a couple of all matte palettes. She's got a nude one and she's got a brights one as well. So, you know, if you are the kind of person that really wants some mattes to start a look off, she's got mattes that you can pick up as well. So, that's what I think of the OMGOhMyGlitter Bright Lights palette. I really like it. Right, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, don't forget to ring my bell, and choose all notifications so that you get told every time that I upload another one of these videos. And talking another one of these videos, have you seen them all? There's an awful lot for you to choose from. YouTube are terrible at putting them in your recommended lists and sending you notifications. So why not pop over and have a look and see if there's any recent ones that you have missed. Once you've watched mine, it'd be awesome if you could check out my girlies of the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group, who are listed as ever in my description box below. And I think that's the video done. So, all that remains for me to say, as ever, is you'll stay fabulous. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.